Well, it was just about this point last night, about 24 hours ago to the minute, that we found out that Tavaris Robinson had moved on to Alabama to be secondary coach there. So now Mario's got to replace him, and that's not going to be an easy one to replace.
Um, like I've said, I've had some time to think about it, and the more you think about it, the more you understand that these things happen. You need to prepare for it. And sometimes it's not just about money. It could be location. It could be championship pedigree. It could be the opportunity to coach players that you really want to coach. There's just so much that goes into it. But Mark, when you look at the list as to why you would do something like this, let's start off with first. You're from Miami, Florida. This was thought of as your dream job, and you've spoken about it to be such. Number two, you went to Auburn and thought of as one of the best defensive backs to come through Auburn. Third, you don't need to add to your resume. You're already thought of as one of the best, if not the best, defensive backs coaches in the country. So going to Alabama does what for you exactly? And four, you had a lateral move. You went from Miami's defensive backs coach to Alabama's defensive backs coach. It's not like you got co-defensive coordinator. It's not like you left to go to Auburn to be the defensive coordinator. It's the same position. And even more crazy to think about is this. Nick Saban is the one who coaches the DBs directly, more specifically the corners. So you're going there to be Alabama's safeties coach. Now, some people could call me sad, deranged Miami Hurricanes fan. That's okay. I don't mind that because you're right. I am upset about this. This is a gut shot for no reason. I mean, you're sitting there with the sleepy eyes thrown up to you, taking a picture. And what does Coach Cristobal do to show his respect and love for you? He comes back to that same recruit the next day after everyone was clowning you on Twitter the night before for being sleepy because you went to a midnight, official visit. And the whole staff does the close eye, sleepy you up because they didn't want you to feel ostracized by yourself and attacked. You've been out recruiting for us for the last 2 weeks when all these rumors are going on. Didn't address any of them. And you left to Alabama. Now, again, like I said, is that championship pedigree? Is that the best, if not the second best program? Arguably, probably the best one in school history or in history. 15 years of this greatness we're watching right now. Sure, but you're just going to be a cog in that machine. What about coming here and building the great program that you spoke about in your intro press conference to be at Miami? I've been all over the country. I've been in the SEC. I've done it. I've seen it all. I beat it all. I want to come here to Miami to do the same thing. Okay, cool. Hey, we'll take you at face value. And you up and leave us at the first chance you got. You sign to coach under Manny Diaz. We have a whole bunch of investment into what we got right now and where we're going right now and the way we want to move right now. We go get a big time coach. You get a pay grade. We up your pay. And you up and leave. So, hey, it happens. Things happen. We move on. There's plenty of other defensive backs coaches in the country who do very well at their job. And hopefully Miami gets an opportunity. Now it's kind of late in the game. Corey Raymond's at LSU, at Florida. Um, my old head coach, Corey Bell, is in conversation for the same position here at Miami. Rod Chance was supposed to stay at Oregon. There might be a chance that now Coach Cristobal goes back and dips into the Oregon well again to go grab a young up and coming defensive backs coach and recruiter and Rob Chance, who was the GA under Will Muschamp and T-Rob before he left there to go take the official position over at Oregon as a positions coach. So, hey, man, I just had to let that out. I don't want the rest of the show to be dark and gloomy and negative and down, but that had to be spoken about in the way that it had to be spoken about. And I no longer want to talk about T-Rob because what he did was just it made little to no sense. I mean, Mark, if you're already one of the best talk show, you have your own show. There's thousands, millions of people who have watched your shows. Would you just up and go take the same, do the Mark Rogers TV for Fox now? You have your own. There's no need. You left ESPN to be able to do your own thing, and it's worked out. It just, but hey, like I said, again, I'm going to let it go. It's behind me now. There's a chance for us to go and grab other coaches, whether it be from the high school level in the local Miami-Dade, Broward County area, who have been putting out some pretty good defensive backs, or we go out there and grab another coach and bring them down. Either way, no one is bigger than the you. No one's bigger than the logo. And the more that you preach that, you gotta lean into that. You have to know that that is the truth. Okay, you gotta know that.
Here are a few things that come to mind for me, and a few of these things are going to be in line with what you just stated, and a few are from a bit of a different perspective, either in not knowing or in just having a different perspective. So number one would be, what's the pay difference? That's the first thing that comes to mind, because it is a job and you get paid for a job. And the reason we all work is to get a paycheck. So do we know what that pay difference is? Or if there is a pay difference?
None of that's been announced yet.
So that's number one. My first thought, that I'm just working with just generic figures. But if you make $800,000 a year and you get a raise to $1.1 million a year, that's significant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's my first thought, which we don't know. My second one is, if I'm as good at my job as T-Rob is, to your point, I would be very cognizant of who the head coach is in terms of what his area of expertise is. And as you just pointed out, Nick Saban's area of expertise is the secondary, and more specifically, corners. I would rather go be somewhere where I wouldn't have the head coach kind of like already have his like really strong thoughts about that position, his strong ways about that position. I'd want to go work for like an offensive dude who's just like, man, we know you're one of the best. We're cutting you loose. You go to it, and you make that secondary what it's supposed to be. And I trust you, and this is why you're here. I would be a little uneasy about having a head coach who specializes in my area if I'm as good as T-Rob. If I'm just starting, then that's different. I'd actually probably like to have a head coach who specializes in my area so he can mentor me. But this is different.
Yeah.
I think in terms of it being a lateral move, that all depends on how you view. So in terms of the position, there's no question it's a lateral move.
Mm-hmm.
But would you consider a move from, okay, Alabama's the best program in the country, Miami's in the top, depending on how
35,
you look
40,
at it. Yeah. Okay, I was going to say 25 to 30. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
If he was at Duke and he was moving to Miami, would you consider that a lateral move?
No.
Okay. I understand the argument that it is a lateral move.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that I don't agree with that. I'm just bringing a different perspective, that if you consider the level of program, then maybe it's not a lateral move.
And I get that. But like I said, the deeper you look at it, it could be it's a lateral move with a curve. You're going on a higher program. Right. But like we just illustrated, it would be different if he was young up and coming. He's already known as the best or one of the best. So I mean, you're not really new. And here's another thing, Mark. I'll hammer it home again, even though I really want to let this go, but I'll keep going. You were raised in this coaching thing by whom? Who was Tavares Robinson raised in coaching by? Just by coaching wise. Do you know?
I don't.
Will Muschamp. He was a grad assistant under Will
Okay.
Muschamp at
Yeah,
Auburn.
it sounds good.
A couple years after playing and then going into the NFL.
Okay.
Guess what Will Muschamp is? Georgia.
He's at Georgia. Yeah.
And thought of to be getting the promotion to defensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator at Georgia.
Yep.
I wouldn't trip if that was the move because I understand the person that gave you your chance, the person that helped you and molded you to become who you are is calling you again and saying, hey, I need you again. We just won a championship. Come do it right here. That's fine. The New England Patriots, the Oakland Raiders, somebody calls to the NFL calls, want you to be their defensive backs coach. No problem. I'm not going to trip on you about that. I get it. Now, someone in here made a great point, about we don't know the reasons why. Well, the reason that would go against all of what I said, I don't really know. And like I said, call me deranged, angry Miami Hurricanes fan. I get that because I am. This one didn't make any sense. Yes, it's Alabama. That part I understand. But that's the only reason why it makes any sense. Because it's Alabama. And you can go out and do it. He's already known as one of the best recruiters. So you're not going to get a ring on your cap for being an elite recruiter because you've beaten Alabama head to head for recruits to commit to Miami. Like Traquan Fakins is right there in Alabama. Alabama told him, hold on, wait. Miami came and got him. Now, of course, Miami didn't finish because our season was bad. But as far as what T-Rob was doing, it is what it is, man. It's behind us now. We got to move forward, and Miami will move forward. It is what it is, man. Everybody keeps talking about money. Yeah, you're right. But I believe, and this is from me knowing that it is public that the University of Miami is willing to put in millions to build the staff. Okay. Well, if it's about money, why not give Miami opportunity to match? And we'll never know. We will never know. We will never know if they gave him a chance to match it and if Miami did or didn't and just let him go. And no, man, it's all good. It's all good.